Hi, welcome to the kitchen. I have gotten my tripod set up, so that's great. Except I realized that if I turn the camera down so that you can see what we're about to do, which is make some food, you can't see my face anyway, so I really need to figure out why the second camera's not working properly. Because then we could do like both. You could see the food and maybe see me. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to see me. That's too bad. It's my channel. So today we're going to make beef stroganoff. Except we're going to make it like I did last week when I went to the grocery store and totally forgot to buy a couple of key ingredients and kind of had to fudge the recipe. So if you like your beef stroganoff a little spicy, there's gonna be Chipotle involved. I'll explain later. It's gonna be a slow cooker recipe, so I'm gonna start the dish and then I'm gonna go to the gym and take a shower when I get back, and then we'll finish it up and I'll show you the finished product, except you can put this over egg noodles as one usually does, or put it with a biscuit or a piece of bread or some rice or whatever. I'm not gonna do any of that. So the finished product is gonna look unusual, which really this whole recipe is unusual. Let's just get started.
Oh, hello, it's me again in the corner. And clearly not the same day. But here's my little ninja. Is it like the Foodie Possible or something? It does a lot of things. I mainly use it for slow cooking still, except I do enjoy this sear setting that it has. It doesn't get quite as hot as like you would want to sear a steak that you're about to sit down and eat, but it does brown up stuff kind of nicely before you slow cook it. And I like doing it in the same pot that I'm going to slow cook my stuff in because you keep all the flavor. And we're about to kick a lot of flavor into this beef. I got about a pound of beef for stew meat, chuck probably. It was already pre-cut at the grocery store, and it actually worked really well. Like it fell apart when you chewed it at the end. It was perfect. The mustard is part of my own special addition to this recipe because I've been cooking some Salvadoran recipes over the last few years, and one of my favorite things, especially with I mainly cook with chicken, is they cover the meat in mustard and seasoning before you brown it and you cook it up. And the smell of mustard chicken sauteing in a pan, browning up, is like the most divine smell ever. The beef didn't do the smell thing as much. It's not as good as like the chicken smell, but I still highly recommend this. So I covered it in mustard, salt, pepper, and onion and garlic powder. And I know you can see on the side that there's some garlic right there, and there's gonna be an onion. But onion and garlic powder don't taste exactly like onion and garlic do, and they don't act the same way when you cook them. So I often enjoy using both in my recipes. There's also a tomato here, and that is because some recipes call for tomato paste, and I didn't have it. And I was like, you know what? I have a tomato. So that's what I did last week, so we're sticking with it again. I also like that when this tomato cooks down, it kind of leaves you with some tomatoey bits to chew on, to eat. If you don't like that, we'll get to that later. Right now, I'm putting, I've let the pan heat up for 5 minutes because that's what the the booklet that came with the slow cooker says to do. If you're putting it on sears, you let it heat up for 5. And then I'm putting in my little bits into the pan, making sure that they're all touching the bottom. They're not just one big clump. And I tried to give them as much space as possible to make sure that there wasn't a lot of trapped moisture, but it pretty much covered the entire bottom of the pan. Another thing about where we're at right now is on the kitchen counter, which was great for filming, but you're going to see in a few minutes that we're going to move over to the stove because this started to steam up quite a bit, and I didn't want to deal with figuring out what it takes to deal with whatever fire. Oh, that's some sizzle. I like a good sizzle. Anyways, I didn't want to deal with the smoke detector at midnight in an apartment complex, and I have the little fan thing over the stove, so I moved the thing while it was while it was searing over to the stove. I'm chopping up my garlic here. The garlic, I have an entire bulb of garlic. I never count garlic cloves. I don't know why I'm speaking like that right now, but yeah, I never count garlic cloves. And anytime somebody says use 2, I can't taste it. And I also enjoy garlic. So, the onion, we're just gonna chop it rather thinly. It's going to cook down quite a bit in the slow cooker because it's gonna be on high for like 4 hours. I'm gonna do the same with that tomato, but you're not gonna see it because I apparently forgot to record it. Sorry, you'll notice that I just like cut out for a second because my nose started running a little uncontrollably and it was bothering me. Anyways, we're back. And what else can I say about this? Oh, that's what I wanted to say. I'm saying that like the veggies in the slow cooker are going to cook down, and depending on how tiny you make your garlic and how thin you slice your onion, it might majority wise just dissolve into the food. But if you're the kind of person that doesn't want to see or eat like chunks of garlic, tomato, and onion in your beef stroganoff, which you usually don't, I would just cook those 3 things together at this point, right after you take all your beef out, and then take the broth that we're gonna make and those 3 ingredients, put them in the blender, and then put them back in to the slow cooker with the beef and the mushroom. I really just like watching this part because oh, by the way, I'm putting in salt just to help the veggies sweat it out a bit, because the salt will help extract the moisture from the veggies. And if you'll notice, I don't have any I don't put any oil or butter in this recipe. I mainly just use whatever fat is from the beef, and then whatever moisture comes out of the veggies to help saute things up. And then I'll add more liquid when I put in the broth. I just like this part of the video because I like watching a kind of time lapse of the veggies cooking down. Oh, this is better than bouillon. It's actually chicken flavor. You can use beef flavor. Chicken is what I have in the house, which again, this is a recipe that I made last week when I forgot to get things and I really liked it, so I'm just repeating it. But yeah, you just take like a couple of teaspoons of the better than bouillon, kind of break it up in the water. The water's not boiling because it's going to cook for a while in the slow cooker and it will dissolve. This is where we add our chipotle. I put in chipotle Cholula because most stroganoff recipes have a little bit of like Worcestershire sauce or maybe even some A1, basically something you would normally pair with beef. And I find that this Chipotle Cholula tastes really good with beef. I mean, it tastes really good on everything, but like it tastes really good with beef. And I thought it kind of added a little spice, but it also kind of gave the broth a little more flavor, a little more depth than chicken bouillon would. And yeah, we're just gonna let this cook. I'm poking everything down into the liquid just to make sure it's all nestled in before I put the lid back on and I can move it from the stove back to the counter. Now I'm putting it on slow cook off of sear saute, and we're turning it to 4 hours on high, and then I'm going to the gym because it's going to cook for 3 hours, and then we're going to, I think when I came back from the gym I just checked on it real quick. Yeah, this is the first time I've opened it since I put that lid on where you saw it just then, and I'm just giving it a little bit of a stir just to see how everything's going. This, by the way, because I'm counting calories and beef is higher in calories, even though this recipe is literally just like meat and veggies with a little tiny bit of bouillon and a tablespoon of flour. It's still higher in calories than like when I eat chicken. So this is 3 servings for me, but I could eat all of that right now. This is actually 3 hours in. I think it's gotten there's a little less liquid. It's mostly solids at this point. Looking at it now, you could probably judge if you're the kind of person that would want your veggies blended or if you're okay with eating it like this, because this is what it's gonna look like basically. I'm taking out the broth, maybe like 1/3 of a cup of it ish, and I'm mixing in a tablespoon of flour, and I'm mixing it separately so that I can get all the clumps out before I mix it back into the food. Last week when I made it, I did it with 2 tablespoons of flour and it came out a little bit too thick for me. You'll see at the end, I think this one might have been like a wee bit too thin. Maybe I'll do 1.5 tablespoons next time. It doesn't really matter because by the time I eat it, I'm also gonna put sour cream in the mix, which makes it creamier. So, do whatever you feel like, man. Okay, sorry I keep disappearing, but my nose keeps running and I have to go blow my nose. I did record a whole bit where I portioned this out. I have the bowl here where it's already got the sour cream in it and I've mixed it in completely, and then that roll I actually made while this stuff was cooking because I couldn't resist. It's actually a roll I made with protein powder, So it still has like 24 grams of carbs in it, but it also has like 12 grams of protein, which is good for me. You can eat this with whatever you want. Again, like I said earlier in the video, I have 2 more portions of the Stroganoff for later, which at the point of recording this video in the corner, I've already eaten. But I put it away without the sour cream in it, and then I heat it up in the microwave, and then I add the sour cream. Some people put it in when you're cooking. The only problem is sometimes you have to worry about how hot everything is. You don't want your sour cream to get like curdly or like broken up and weird. And I find that I completely skip all of that if I just add it at the end when it's not even cooking anymore. So this recipe was different, but let me know in the comments what you think. You think you'll make it? You think you'd like it? Would you want it chunky? Would you want it not chunky? Would you take the time to blend those veggies? I feel like my portion isn't very big when I eat this, and so I keep the veggies whole because it makes it feel like I'm actually eating something, like I actually get to masticate. That is all. I'm gonna go. I have to edit this video and get it out because it is already like almost a week late. Have a great day. I hope to get another video out in like the next 2 or 3 days. I'll see you later. Goodbye.